Hey, what's up everybody? Ray here. So as you all know by this point, Square Enix dropped metric ton of Final Fantasy VII anniversary, 25th anniversary knowledge on us. It was a wild time, we had a lot of fun, and they dropped a fantastic first look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, as we now know it'll be called. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break down a little bit of this trailer. So I want to break this down into a couple different parts. We're going to break down what I see visually in this and talk about kind of some of the artistic things they want us to think about as they're showing off what they show off, and then we're going to talk about the dialogue itself. So first we're going to talk about some of the artistic cues starting from the very beginning. Let's just get right into it. Right from the beginning we see these birds, and what's important to note about these birds is the fact that we are looking at also the remnants or the final pieces of dissipation of the whispers. That's what these little green flecks are here around Midgar. All these little pieces of energy of the whispers disappearing. Now, why is this important? Well, I mean, if you look at the bird from the first announcement trailer, I know he's talking about birds, right? Okay, I'm getting to the point. If you look at the bird from the first announcement trailer, they make a point to open this trailer announcing the second game with birds again, the same birds outside of Midgar. This time it's a different breed, and they also appear with the flecks of the final remnants of the whispers dissipating, signaling change. They have come out and said that this game is going to be its own thing, a new thing. So I think this is what they're preparing us for in this little artistic showing of these birds. Different breed, things are changing. Change is the theme of this trailer. Moving on. Now we get the single white feather floating down toward the traveling Zack and Cloud. A lot of people speculate on what this might mean, the alternate timelines, another time loop, whatever. Throwing that out the window right now. I want to visit something that I didn't think for sure they might do, but I think this could be signaling the presence of Angeal. Now I know we saw him, for spoilers, if you haven't played Crisis Core, okay, spoiler alert, you've been warned right now, but I know that in Crisis Core we saw Angeal die, but Angeal and Genesis can make copies of themselves, so it stands to reason that something could have happened. And plus, let's talk about the end of Crisis Core real quick. Someone comes and picks up Zack there at the end, takes his soul into the afterlife or whatever. Or is that what really happened? Does he take him and metaphysically somehow transport him to another place? That's a thought for another day. But this white feather here, I believe, signifies the presence of Angeal. And Zack at the end of Crisis Core says, I want those wings. Is this his quest to become a hero, to become the guy that gets those wings? Only time's gonna tell on that one, but that's very fascinating. This shot here of Cloud and Sephiroth walking the path leading up to Mount Nibel is amazing. And make no mistake about it, this is the flashback. This is the calm flashback. This is Cloud telling the story and you playing through the story. This is amazing. And I love how Mount Nibel looks jagged. It looks like some kind of hellscape in the background. Almost like the falling meteor, it kind of looks like. And notice up here in the top, they're 1,060 meters away from their target destination, the reactor. That is huge. That is a huge distance. This game is going to be massive. That is a tell for how big the areas of this game are going to be. Whether it's big, lush, beautiful areas like this, or it's going to be true open world, still up in the air. But if they give us huge zones like this, with thousands of meters to explore and different areas to comb through and different monsters to fight and things, I'm all in on that. This looks great. This looks gorgeous. And they came out and said this game is going to be humongous. So I'm excited. Now, let's talk a little bit about the interplay of the characters here. Just the movements. A few of you have heard me talk a little bit about this, but I love the giddiness of Cloud here. It looks like a dad and son going to the park, and the kid can't wait to get on the rides. Cloud looks like a kid trying to impress his father. Sephiroth walking with power and confidence, and Cloud hopping around. There's a lot of storytelling right here just in this little bit, and the birds again, signifying the change in the story, in the details, in what's happening. I love the body language of just what we saw with Cloud and Sephiroth in this. Now, what is fact and fiction? I love that they bring that up. What is fact? What is fiction? Here we see again the white feather descending upon Zack and Cloud. And Zack and Cloud making their way closer and closer to Midgar. I feel like this is the same Zack. This is the same Cloud. I don't feel like we have numerous Clouds. I don't think this is a different timeline or whatever, but I could be wrong. I mean, that's the thing. That's not what this is about. I'm giving you all what I think here. I think this is all happening in the same timeline. Change. They were within the anomaly at the end of Remake. Anything within that anomaly was not affected by what happened. So the world around them has changed, and that's what we are seeing now. They are closer to the gates of Midgar, and then when Zack and Cloud approach, we see a shot of Sector 6. Of course, Sector 6 was blown away in before Crisis. That's how that fell. But we are seeing them approaching Sector 6, which is right next to Sector 5, where Aerith lives. So Zack is trying to make his way back to Aerith. And as we see at the end of Intergrade, we see that he is at Aerith's church looking for Aerith. Insert whatever theory you believe here about the church. I'll leave that for you all. That'll be a discussion for another time. This is just a trailer breakdown of this. That is what I noticed in this. And of course, here, the title card. Let's talk about this. The Rebirth, the way it blows the red off right there, the way it comes out like that. To me, that crimson and black, I've told you all, is reminiscent of Genesis. They chose that color for a reason. That color is in there for a reason. I believe that heavily has to do with Genesis. I believe he's going to play a big role in this story. We've already seen the insinuating the presence of Angeal. We know Sephiroth is around. And also, they are currently really leaning hard into the Genesis stuff with all the things they chose to show during the 25th anniversary. Leaning hard on him for First Soldier, leaning hard on his inclusion in Crisis Core and Ever Crisis, even leaning into some of his scenes. They didn't have to do that, but they chose to. So I think this is all leading to him. Now, I'll cover that in another video, what I think they're going to do with him and when I think we'll see him. But let's get into the vocal breakdowns. Thank you all for telling me that the Japanese versions were different slightly than the English versions. The trailer opens with Aerith talking. She says, "What we've done, that's set in stone. The past is forever, but the future, even if it has been written, can be changed. So focus on the future, not the past." Again, with the different birds, the dissipation of the whispers showing right there in the opening as they descend down on Cloud, and her talking about change. That is at the core of what they want to drive home for this. That's what they want you thinking about. They want to prepare you for things that are about to change, get turned on their head, but it's still the same characters. It's still the story. We're going to get those story beats, so I feel confident about that. In Japan, in the Japanese version, she says, "Sadness and anger are what makes us strong, but it will also change us. Don't think about the past, but the future instead." A bit of a different message, but still leaning on change. And again, sadness and anger make us strong, but it will also change us. What have I told you all I thought my theory was going to be for the ending of Remake or Rebirth? My theory is that Cloud completely breaks, and you have to fight Cloud at the end of it. I think everything that happens in this game, the lead up, all the stuff that happens, Tifa questioning him, taking him to task about things, the appearance of Zack at some point. This line right here, the Japanese line, is going to be very potent. Sadness and anger are what makes us strong, but it will also change us. I think that's an ominous statement. And I think that's a hint for how this game's going to end. Now, it says what will become of the planet. We see Cloud and Sephiroth walking toward the Mountain of Bell reactor. And this is again from Cloud's story at Calm. And he starts talking. He says he wants to finish what he started. He wants to reclaim his birthright and rule over the planet with Jenova at his side, talking about Sephiroth. In Japanese version, it just says Sephiroth wants to continue his plan from that day. He wants to take back the planet and along with Jenova, become its ruler. He is trying to continue his plan. Pretty much the same thing. Not much difference there, but I do want to present to you all both versions of what they say, because some of it is potently different. And we will get into that here in just a second. And then it says, what is Sephiroth's end game? These are the things that the developers want you thinking about. What will become of the planet? What is Sephiroth's end game? What is fact and what is fiction? Because now we don't know, correct? And this is the things they want you thinking about. So this is why we're going to lean into them pretty hard. Cloud says next, I saw you lying there, and I figured it was too late. In Japan, in the Japanese version, he said, I thought I was too late that day. Tifa now responds in an agitated manner, wait, what are you implying, that I died? That I'm some kind of imposter? And in the Japanese version, she says, so are you doubting me? You're implying as if someone else was there instead? I don't think this is during the Calm story. I think this is going to be a little bit later in the game, and she's going to start poking holes in Cloud's story, trying to figure out what's going on with him because she cares about him. But she knows something's very wrong with him. And I think this is not going to be at Calm. This is going to be later. I think you're going to see Tifa and Cloud butt heads a lot in this game because of his story. I think this is what's going to drive him to the edge, pretty much. Fascinating stuff. And then the game that says what is fact and what is fiction. We hear Cloud saying, you were here with me 5 years ago. Where are you? What happened to you? In the Japanese version, he says, we came here together 5 years ago. Zack, where are you? He remembers Zack now. That is a big difference. And if you all remember, in the first chapter, I believe it was the first or second chapter of Final Fantasy VII, there were remakes. There were a couple of things that clued us in that Cloud remembers things that he didn't remember then. When he tells Sephiroth in that chapter 2 vision of Sephiroth and Nibelheim burning, he says, I killed you. And the Sephiroth goes, oh, you need not remind me. He didn't remember that in the original game. He did not remember that. Just like in the original game, he didn't really remember Zack. But now he remembers him. Not only that, this line comes from them being in Nibelheim. So for all of you who are worried we wouldn't get the Nibelheim, here's the spoiler. You get the Nibelheim because that's where this line takes place. You were here with me 5 years ago. We came here together 5 years ago. They're in Nibelheim when this line takes place. Aerith says, I'm trying so hard to find you. In the Japanese version, she says, I'm looking for you. At the end of Remake, we see Sephiroth have that grin on his face, and then we see the planet show Aerith that it's working on a backup plan to combat Sephiroth. And the planet shows Zack getting ready to go into combat, what happened in the past with Zack. She has a shocked look on her face as it zooms out. At the end of the game, I believe the planet told her before the Whispers were destroyed that they spared Zack. I truly feel that way. Now I think Aerith knows Zack's alive because the planet told her before she lost contact with it. Or lost contact with the Whispers at least. And she's looking for Zack. That's going to be her storyline throughout this game. She's looking for Zack. And then at the end, Zack says, sorry, feel like I failed you. And in the Japanese version, he says, I'm sorry, I couldn't do anything. Now, here's where I'm torn. I can't tell if this is Zack or if this is Cloud. It makes sense for both. It makes sense for Zack because he's obviously talking to Aerith. I feel like he's speaking with Aerith, or he could also be speaking with Cloud. He could be speaking with Cloud. Now, if it's Cloud, sorry, feel like I failed you. I'm sorry I couldn't do anything. If that's Cloud, it's them teasing us that he's talking about Aerith after Aerith's death. Think about that. Or he's talking about Zack. I think it's one of those two. And again, either way, if it's Cloud or if it's Zack, you know what I mean? So that's what I took from this trailer. Change is the heavy theme. They're really going in hard on this. I think, aside from everything, this looks amazing. The trailer looks great. I love what they did with the Mount Nibel reactor, the walk up to it, even showing us the distance, how big it is. I mean, goodness, people, we are in for a ride. We are in for an absolute ride. I can't wait. I hope you all enjoyed this trailer breakdown. Subscribe to the channel, please. It helps me out a ton. Throw a like on this video and share it around. Tell people what's going on. Here at the channel, we're going to be breaking down a lot more. We're going to break down the Crisis Core stuff, the Crisis Core reunion stuff. And we got a lot more stuff coming this week. Lock it in here, subscribe, throw a like on the video, and throw some comments down there. Let's get the conversation rolling. And as always, you all have a great night. Be safe, be good to each other, and keep rocking. I will see you all in the next video. I want to say a quick thank you to my YouTube and Patreon members and supporters. If you would like to support the future creation of content on this channel, get some few extra perks and some art sent to your door every month, consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. Details and links are in the video description.